gavel works. All right, I welcome everyone to tonight's regular meeting of the Friendswood City Council at FISD Administration Annex Building. FISD has graciously allowed the City of Friendswood to hold a few meetings here while our City Council chambers are being renovated. As you may know, City has experienced various technical issues in City Council chamber. We're utilizing PEG funds, which is stands for Public Educational and Governmental Funds that we reap from all of your Comcast cable bills. You know, we get a little, like a penny from each of you every month, and then that builds up over months, and we got a lot of money. We can't spend it on anything else. And let me tell you, Rod Kabir would love to be able to spend it on something else, but we're going to spend it on revamping the audio visual in our council chambers and make that better. So that money is earmarked for those kind of technical issues, and we expect to be back in our council chamber for our January 2026 regular meeting. So thank you for finding us over here, hidden away on 402 Laurel. Tonight's invocation is going to be led by Pastor Stephen Kimple of Life Point Church. Pastor Kimple. So if you wouldn't mind standing, we'll remain standing until the invocation, and then we'll say the pledges. So.
Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many privileges which you've afforded us by living in this great nation, one of which is evidence this evening where we get to gather together. We thank you for the leaders of the city. We pray that you'd give them wisdom. We pray that you'd cover our city in peace. You'd give discernment. We thank you that you delight to hear from us, and so we do seek you and invite you to give us clarity and wisdom in all things, and we will give you thanks. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Kimple. For those of you who don't know, Life Point meets at Klein Elementary. So just a shout out for you, Pastor. If you're looking for that church, head over to Klein Elementary on Sundays, I assume. Good, okay. All right, so big day. You may have noticed we got a lot of second graders sitting in the front row, and you may be wondering what's going on there. Well, actually in 2018, we started having second graders come in and take over council. And we used to do 3 different elementary schools in CCISD and Friendswood that are inside the city limits. Now we have 4 schools that have second graders. So every year, 4 of our council meetings have second graders coming and taking over for a few minutes. And I'll let them get to what they're going to do here in a minute. But we've been doing this. I think I was doing a little count in my head. I think this is the 21st council meeting that we've had second graders here for, taking over. And we love to do this. It always brings new faces into city council, not just the second graders, but all you parents and grandparents that had to find your way over from City Hall. You thought you knew where City Hall was, but then we, faked you out and came over here. But glad that you found it. And it's funny because this is a CCISD school. This is Wedgwood, so we're not even in your school district right now. But hey, we're glad that you're here. We do it for a couple of reasons. We want these students to learn how government works a little bit, to understand the value of community service, to find out that, we up here on the dais, we are all volunteers. All the council members, myself, are volunteers. People on the end are paid. The parental supervision that we have are paid. But and we also like to foster this leadership development. Believe it or not, these kids, these second graders, they will be future leaders. In this city, in this community, in this state, somewhere, they're going to grow up and be future leaders. So think about this. When we started this program with second graders back in 2018, those kids just started 9th grade this year. So they're growing up fast. So we're going to have them, eventually, probably some kid that's going to turn 18 and want to run for city council for real, and we'll have somebody that sat on council as a second grader up here doing the work that we do. And then we also want to support CCISD's character education program. Thank you, Karen Engel, Dr. Engel, the superintendent, Principal Johnson, thank you also for being here. We really appreciate you all coming over and spending a few minutes with us. So we love having them here. I'm going to call each student up one by one. So when I call your name, you're going to come up and take your place up here at one of these chairs, all right? And we have Maylee Cook. She'll be doing both jobs, city secretary and city attorney. Now, I'm not saying that those jobs are easy, but one second grader can do both. So. No, those are two of the hardest jobs that we have up here, the city secretary and city attorney. So Maylee, you got your work cut out for her. So I will call up city secretary and city attorney Maylee Cook. Come on up.
She raised that.
How'd we do it in dress rehearsal, Maylee? Oh, you missed that. Okay. And Maylee is from Mrs. Davis's class. Mrs. Davis, would you stand up for? All right, council member position number 6, taking over for Mr. Ross there, Race Adams. And Race is from Mrs. Mayo's class. Mrs. Mayo. Council member position 5, Laura Navarro. Mrs. Murphy's class. Mrs. Murphy. And council member position 4, Alfonso Cifuentes. Also from Mrs. Murphy's class.
There you go, Alfonso.
Oh, okay. Miss Brasida Geary's class. Okay. All right. I just read what they give me. All right. Our mayor, Samantha Estrada. That's the easiest job up here. And she's from Mrs. Davis's class also. Oh, yeah. Sorry. All right, council member position number 3, Ashton Barentine from Mrs. Murphy's class. Council member position 2, Emery Hernandez. Mrs. Mayo's class. And then council member position 1, Tyler Murphy. Not from Mrs. Murphy's class. Probably a good decision there. From Mrs. Mayo's class. Our city attorney was going to be Sadie Salazar from Miss Brasida Geary's class, but she is ill, so she's the one that Maylee's taken over for. And then our city manager, the smartest person in the room, Jason David. Also from Mrs. Davis's class. All right, I'll turn it over to you, Mayor. Good luck.
Considering proclamation declaring October 6, 2025 as Wedgwood Elementary Day in the city of Friendswood, Texas. Would the city manager please give the council an overview of the item?
Mayor and Council, tonight you have before you proposed proclamation declaring October 6, 2025, Wedgwood Elementary Day in Friendswood, Texas. As you know, Wedgewood Elementary is part of the Clear Creek Independent School District and is an exemplary campus and source of pride for our community.
Has our city attorney approved the wording of the proposed proclamation?
Yes, Mayor. I have drafted the wording of the proposed proclamation and it is in the line with the vision statement of the City of Friendswood.
Will the city secretary please read the city's vision for this statement for the record?
The City of Friendswood has the following statement as its vision. Together we can build our future into a friendly place to live, work, play, learn, and worship.
Thank you. I will now read the proposed proclamation.
I move that we accept the proclamation as presented. I second that motion. At Wedgewood Elementary, I pledge to be a good character and I pledge to be a bucket filler.
At Wedgewood Elementary, we will be honest, reliable, and worthy of trust.
We will be responsible and fair doing what we must. At Wedgewood Elementary, with our words and actions, we show that we care.
We will be good citizens and do our share.
At Wedgewood Elementary, we will respect ourselves and others too. We will respect the best
We will
in all
expect
we
the
do.
best.
We will expect the best in all we do.
Would the city secretary please read the motion on the table?
We have a motion by Councilmember Murphy and a second from Councilmember Hernandez to accept the proposed proclamation of City of Friendswood, Texas, declaring October 6, 2025 as Wedgewood Elementary Day in the City of Friendswood, Texas.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed, please raise your hand. Motion passes 7-0. Congratulations, Wedgewood Elementary School. With there being no other business, I adjourn this council for a day meeting.
Good job. You guys did awesome. Now, if I could just get my council members to read from a script, we would have fast meetings. So we're going to take a break now. We're going to go outside because we have punch and cookies, nothing like giving you some sugar and then send you home.
Take a picture, take a picture, take a picture. Picture. We're going to take a picture first, out there.
We're going to do a picture outside. And then we're going to do a reception outside. Everything outside.
Everything outside.
Okay.
Okay.
Come on, everybody outside.
Yeah.
I see a preponderance of council members up here. We're going to continue with this meeting. Y'all want to continue meeting, you can step out in the hallway. Item 5, council comments and reports. Councilmember Branson, you got anything?
Yes, sir. I would like to report on this past weekend. We had the Rotary Regatta. This is an event that got started back in 2018, but in reality, the premise of it used to be called, oh shoot, I've already forgotten what it was, but they started it way back in the late 80s, and it was to raise the level of awareness about Clear Creek. And just this past weekend, we were able to have a regatta that had about 75 paddlers this year. It has actually grown over time. It's become one of the largest canoe races in Texas. And I'd like to brag a little bit on the Rotary Club. When we did this back in 2018, we needed a launch at 1776 Park. And so the Rotary Club worked with the city and came up with the funds, and we put in a launch. Well, the idea came about that maybe we could do this. And at that time, we went from Friendswood to ended in League City. We thought, wouldn't it be great if we could have the total canoe safari, is what it was called back in the late 80s, all within the city of Friendswood. And so we worked on a couple of pads, as they're called. I'm not a canoeing person, but apparently it's called a pad, so that we could have ingress and egress in and out of Clear Creek all along the way, so that you could actually canoe from 1776 and end in Stevenson Park. And they were able to do that. They started it last year. We had the ability to do that again this year. And so I just wanted to do a shout out to the Rotary Club for working with the city, and this is a great community event. And to have one of the largest canoe races in the state of Texas already, and we only have it since 2018, I think it's pretty cool. So thanks to the Rotary Club for working with the city of Friendswood, and thanks to Luis Briones. He's the one who actually brought the idea to our Rotary Club. So that's it here.
Thank you, yeah, that's great. I just wanted to thank CCISD for allowing us to use their boardroom for these next three council meetings.
Them too.
CCISD just left.
Yeah.
FISD council boardroom, I don't know what that is.
Close enough.
I'm off script. But I want to thank them because, as you may have heard, I said in my opening that we're here because our council chambers needed rework, the sound quality. How's this, Jason, can you hear me okay? Is it working good now? A little more? So you can tweak it. How about that? How you like me now? So, good to be here, sharing with you all here in the FISD boardroom. So thank you, Tammy Locklear in the back, for making sure the lights are on and everything is working. And we appreciate you. We'll be back hopefully over there at City Hall January.
This feels very
Councilmember
comfortable.
Hanks.
This feels very comfortable to me. I really like it. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. Yeah, great idea.
Councilmember Griffon,
I don't have anything.
Councilmember Matranga,
Well, you said it twice, but thanks everybody for making their way over here. Appreciate everybody being here tonight.
Councilmember Ross.
Only thing I've got is be mindful coming Halloween. There are going to be trick-or-treaters everywhere, so be safe. Drive nice and carefully around our children. Thank you.
Good words, good words. Okay, item number 6, public comment. To comply with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Act, City Council may not deliberate any item not listed on the agenda. As such, City Council will listen to public comment and may 1, refer the item to city management for further action, or 2, direct staff to place an item on a future agenda. During public comment, the public shall comply with the council's rules of decorum. Everyone desiring to present comments should have completed public hearing comment card in the foyer and submitted it to the city secretary. If you haven't, you got about 3 minutes left here to run out there and fill one out. At the podium, each participant shall give his or her name and address in order to provide a proper record. The rules allow each person 3 minutes to present information. First up is Brent Aaronworth, Councilmember Aaronworth.
So I know y'all like that new dais. I need phone books on this one. All right, I'm going to keep this brief. While I enjoy speaking from this side, I'm not a fan of this guy right here. Mayor, you weren't here in June when I last spoke, so I'd like to quickly revisit the point that I brought up. Property taxes are rising, city bonds are being discussed, school bonds are already on the ballot, and our residents are feeling the strain. Between inflation, higher property taxes, rising utility bills like electricity and water, families are being stretched thin each and every day. Every dollar matters, and those dollars are used makes all the difference the way we use them in this city. As I mentioned in June, our city still faces major needs in regards to sidewalks, streets, parks that will never be fully funded under the current budget without proposing some kind of a tax increase. One option worth considering is sunsetting the downtown tax or reallocating it. I raised the issue during my time on council a few times, and while it's done some good for the downtown has done some good things for our city in that tax. Like anything else, it deserves a reevaluation now. In June, I outlined several legal and practical ways it could be managed differently. This fund now generates over $1 million, and it's going to continue to grow. We only have so many murals and lights we can put up, but there's ways to finish out that infrastructure. If redirected across all Friendswood, we could help meet some of these essential needs to ease the burden of the future bond projects that would otherwise mean more tax increases if we don't address them now. But that discussion begins right here with all of you, since the residents out here can't take action until you all decide to place this on the ballot. And one final thought. Rather than creating committees focused on finding new ways to spend money, maybe let's create one dedicating to finding some ways to save it. I'd be glad to lead that effort for you. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to hopefully sitting down with you all to explore how we can work on this together to keep Friendswood families from being taxed out of the city that they love.
Thanks, Brent. Brian Friedman.
Mayor Foreman, members of council, it's great to see everybody. My name is Brian Friedman. I serve as the president of the Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership. I'm also a proud Friendswood resident. I live at 402 Meadow Glen Road, Friendswood, Texas, 77546. Great to see you all this afternoon. Our annual Economic Development Services Agreement is up on the consent agenda, item 12C. I wanted to give a brief update on what BayHEP does, not only for the city, but in the region, share a little bit about the work that we have going on. For those who aren't familiar with the Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, we've been around for 49 years. We have about 320 members now, including 18 municipalities, including the great city of Friendswood, Harrison, Galveston County, the Port of Houston, the Port of Texas City, Houston Tech City Pilots, the Houston Airport System. That's a long-winded way of saying we are the regional group that brings together industry, academia, nonprofit, and government to work together as a region to advance the interests of the region. And so I'm excited and honored to lead that group. I actually served as an intern in the organization in the early 2000s, spent a decade at NASA and then about a decade at Boeing, where I was a member of this organization and been back leading the organization for about 3 years. That said, I wanted to share some of the great work that we've been doing and some of the things that I'm looking forward to. I'll start with the first question we always get asked, which is projects going on in the region that we've been impacting that impact the city of Friendswood. We've been strong supporters of the Friendswood City Center project, the Newcastle Biosciences building that's going on, the Brookfield development that's coming in, and some of the projects that Dr. Thomas is working on. I think the previous council member that spoke talked about some of the challenges on the tax side, and we very much are. How do we have a diversification of the tax base and maximize the value of those properties so that we can get those revenues in the city? And then be able to make options and have more options about what we can do as a region. And so we've been supportive of those, but I've also been spending quite a bit of time working on NASA's funding. If you didn't see, they were actually proposed for about a 25% cut. We worked with Senator Cruz's office to get those cuts reinstated. We've been working with the rest of our congressional delegation on both sides of the aisle to make sure that NASA is protected and preserved. I live in the forest. Many of my neighbors are civil servants and contractors, and so that's very important to me personally. But we've also been spending time in the maritime industry, working with the port on dredging and making sure that that economic engine keeps on cranking. On the healthcare front, with the petrochem and energy sectors, the key industries that drive the people who live in our great city. In addition to that, we've been working a lot of broader regional issues and amplifying the impact of Friendswood. We've hosted Senator Cruz, the Texas Insurance Commissioner, and many others for membership meetings. We host a series of committees, including a mayor's council that the mayor is involved with. We work with the City Managers Association, which Mo is involved with. We have a regional safety and security committee that Chief Rogers has been involved with. We also provide an immense amount of data, including economic impact assessments, real estate location and site selection services, and other things for future projects. We're really proud of this relationship and look forward to continuing it. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Thanks, Brian. Jessica Short.
Hi, my name is Jessica Short. I live at 1215 Marywood Drive, Friendswood, Texas, 77546. And I am here today to bring up something that happened at our house on our property. We had the tree trimmers come by, and we have one of the biggest, most known oak trees in Friendswood, kind of on the corner. It's really one of the reasons we even bought our house. This tree has been hit by lightning. We have hired arborists to take care of it. Like, we take care of this tree, and we also spend thousands of dollars 2 to 3 times a year to have this tree trimmed. So Friday, the tree trimmers came, and we said, wait, we have somebody coming on Sunday to trim our trees. Sunday, we had them trimmed by our contractor to the heights of 10 feet on the sidewalk, 15 feet on the street, which we learned on Friday. Otherwise, we wouldn't have even known the correct heights. Monday, nobody came. Tuesday, I'm getting calls and texts at work. My neighbors are running outside asking the tree trimmers to please stop. They continued to hack away on this tree, and pictures, it looks bad. It's so much worse in person. Some of the cuts go up to the second-story line, roof line of my house. We have had people stop daily and express their condolences, but it's a very violating feeling. I was in shock when I saw it. I'm angry that we are good citizens abiding by the rules, and that this was still done. And I don't know how to ask to have this mitigated, but this was not okay. I guess that's all I have.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Jacob Rouse?
My name is Jacob Rouse, 1215 Marywood Drive, Friendswood, Texas, 77546. So for those who know me, know that I'm not one to complain or make a fuss out of just anything on an ordinary basis. But I'm here this evening to give a little more insight on the event that occurred on our property just a week ago, and also to request that the city re-examine City Ordinance 2024-22, Section 70-80 and Section 70-81 regarding the minimum branch height of trees. This past week, we had the displeasure of having our beautiful, unique oak tree cut by the city tree hackers. This brought to my attention the obvious lack of consideration that occurred when developing this city ordinance. In the sake of time this evening, I'm going to forego all those details that Jessica just went over. However, when all was said and done, they made excessive, destructive, and careless cuts well above 15 feet and well within our property line. This was even after paying a lot of money to do it correctly just 2 days prior. The entire process and the carelessness that ensued gave us a feeling of helplessness and anger and seemed personal. The way that it was carried out from start to finish shows either maybe just malice from the city employees or complete ignorance. Regardless of the two, there needs to be accountability and training when it comes to cutting the trees in Friendswood. I am asking you to go back and reevaluate not only the city ordinance, but also the processes on how this is enforced. The ordinance simply doesn't make sense. It went from 8 foot over sidewalks and 10 foot over the street to a year ago approved 10 feet over sidewalks, 15 feet over street. That's a 5 foot increase, when even 95% of the bridges in Houston aren't even a 15-foot clearance. So to me, it just doesn't make sense that in Friendswood we need 15-foot clearance off these trees, these beautiful trees that this city was somewhat founded upon. It just use common sense when it comes to it. We also were never given any kind of written notice. Maybe it's not required, but maybe that's something that should be discussed. We only had 48 hours. Well, we were able to get it in compliance within 48 hours only because we had already had someone coming out to take care of it and do it properly. But the thought of these untrained employees simply picking and choosing any trees within Friendswood to show up the same day and desecrate that tree on private property does not instill a preservation approach that Friendswood was founded upon. The process, maybe there's a process that homeowners should be able to appeal and ask for special consideration prior to these trees getting hacked. I mean, even our seal, right, for city has a big, beautiful oak tree, and that's the way our tree kind of looked. If something doesn't change, it's we're gonna have to just start putting a tree trunk on that seal. So, but thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, Murad, can we put that ordinance and just talk about that in our next meeting?
We can do that, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7, committees or special reports. 7A, receive the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee Annual Report. This report's in our agenda, in our backup material. There's no in-person report. Any questions, council members, anybody? All right, no comments. We'll consider the report received and move to the next item. Receive the Chamber of Commerce Annual Report, presented by Chairman of the Board, Denise Spruill.
Good evening. My name is Denise Spruill. On behalf of the Friendswood Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank the City of Friendswood for your continued support and partnership as we work together to promote local businesses and strengthen our community. This year has shown growth and engagement. Some of our top events included the State of the City Luncheon, the Police Safety and Emergency Management Luncheon, and our partnership with CEDC Committee during Small Business Week. From January to September of this year, we have welcomed 62 new members and have hosted many ribbon cuttings to celebrate business growth in our community. We are always happy to have Mayor Mike join us for these celebrations. It truly means a lot to our members. Last week, we hosted our first ever breast cancer awareness luncheon sponsored by UTMB, where we were honored to have a panel of 3 doctors share valuable information and answer questions from attendees. It was both informative and very well received. Looking ahead to next year, we plan to continue our signature events while also introducing new opportunities to support our members. We'll be launching a nonprofit breakfast with topics tailored specifically to nonprofit organizations and partnering with the Small Business Development Committee to host quarterly learning luncheons beginning next Thursday with an introduction to Canva. Lunch is provided. We just ask members to RSVP for a head count. Our upcoming events this year include Halloween in the Park, providing a safe and fun place for children to trick or treat while businesses show their community spirit. Our annual Veterans Day Luncheon is in November, and our Purse Bingo is also in November, where some of our local celebrities will be modeling purses. And of course, the Lighted Christmas Parade, a festive tradition that allows businesses to showcase their creativity while celebrating the holiday season. The Chamber truly values our ongoing partnership with the City of Friendswood. Together, we continue to keep Friendswood growing, connected, and strong. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your continued support.
Thanks, Denise. Couldn't help noticing you looked at me when you said people were going to be modeling purses. I said, yes, I guess I'm modeling a purse. Does council have any questions or comments on this report? All right, 7C, presentation from the Law Enforcement Alliance for Galveston County of a donation to the City of Friendswood Police Department for the purchase of 2 RAD system suits for the Rape Aggression Defense Program. Representatives from the Law Enforcement Alliance for Galveston County that are in attendance are founders Karen and Ross Bubrig.
They weren't able to make it.
President Stephanie Kramer. Board members Christine Cobb, Tom Mesa, Terry O'Connell, and Fred Kramer.
Correct.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Sure. I'm just not familiar. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar. Hi, City Council. Thank you for having us and allowing us to present this to our Friendswood Police Department tonight. Law Enforcement Alliance for Galveston County. We're a 501c3, and we provide supplemental income for all Galveston County law enforcement agencies. So anything that we're not able to give or y'all aren't able to give, we help do that. We went from boats to windshields to cars to rad suits. We are honored to present this to Friendswood Police Department today. Officer Ives does an amazing job helping support Friendswood and protecting our community. So we're just very thankful and grateful and happy to be able to serve.
thank you. We appreciate that.
And I'd like to go ahead and present the check for 2 rad suits for $4,400.
do you have a rad, what does the equipment look like?
He has the helmet.
I would love to see it. Yeah, I would love to see it. I think Mayor Mike could volunteer that he would wear it and take on anybody. Okay, Kerry.
Well, the RAD program is a Rape Aggression Defense Program. It's a national program that's actually gone international now. We started it back in 2008. Officer Crouch, when he was the crime prevention officer, actually found the program, and it is strictly made for self-defense for women. It's from ages 12 years old all the way up, and we've had ladies in their 90s actually go through it. The program itself it's to inspire them. It's to let them know that nothing can ever stop them. And we actually take the tactics of self-defense, of how to punch, how to kick, how to strike, how to get out of bear hugs, how to get out of chokeholds. And we teach the ladies that it doesn't matter how big the opponent is, you can do this. And over the 3-day period, we go from talking about self-defense to showing them these tactics to the last day, myself and a couple of the other male instructors wear the entire suit. And it has to be this way because they hit hard. They hit very hard. We give them we actually give them real life scenarios.
I didn't know if this was the rubber dummy that you hit or you actually wore it.
We are wearing it.
About this, I was
yes,
like, what is?
We're wearing it. And it's extremely empowering for our women. And by the time they get through with it, we have several survivors actually go through it. We also use the same suit for our RAD Kids program. So we teach a RAD Kids program from 5-year-olds all the way up to 12-year-olds, and in the summer. And so at the end of that program, we actually put them through scenarios. Now, they don't hit as hard, but there's certain areas we teach them to hit that you need protection.
So how do our wives and our residents and them figure out when and where you're doing this program?
Certainly. We actually will post it. I'm actually in the process of getting our next class for January set up, and then we post it to the Friendswood Police Department's website. And then once we get it out there, the word of mouth, we try to get it out as much as possible.
How many classes do you do a year, roughly?
We try to do 4, one a quarter for the women's, for the women's class, and then 2 kids classes. We've also had times where we've had Girl Scout troops ask us, can we do your own program? As long as we get 10 participants or more, we'll try to get that class in.
Okay. It's an awesome class, and thank you for the
Thank you.
gift.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, moving on. We have item 8, work session topic, receive a presentation by our Dura Group Incorporated regarding the city's comprehensive plan update, including the process and timeline for the update.
Real quick, before Aubrey introduces our guest, I just want to take a moment and thank community development staff as well as our Dura for getting us the grant from the General Land Office to do the comprehensive plan update. As you know, this is something we've been working on for the better part of 4 years, and we're thrilled to be able to get this finally moving forward in the right direction. The comp plan, as you know, is a very important part of the city's overall vision for what we want to see the community look like. It incorporates all of our master plans from parks to drainage to major thoroughfare into one cohesive document. So with that, I'll turn it over to Aubrey Harbin.
Thanks, Aubrey.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I just wanted to introduce Lada Krishnaro. She's with the Ardura Group that's going to be the consultant with us on this project for the next couple of years. She's going to do a quick presentation and introduce her team and kind of explain the process. After tonight, hopefully on your next council meeting, we're in the process of formulating an advisory committee. So hopefully we can get lots of viewpoints and get a vision for the city for the next 20 years to be able to work from.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, city staff, and residents of Friendswood. We are really happy to be here today to help you go through this process. I do have a quick PowerPoint, so since you have that in your packet, I'll keep it short and then have some time for discussion and see if you have any thoughts or input to add to the process. So, Thank you. So,
Yeah.
quick introduction. I know we have city staff here. You all know Aubrey. For the consultant team, we have 3 consultants that are doing this project. Ardura will be the prime. We are a civil engineering planning group based out of Houston, but we have offices all over the country. So with me, I'm just a quick introduction. My name is Lata Krishna Rao, and I'm going to be the project manager on this. I retired from the city of from Pearland. I was there for 14 years as their community development director. So yeah, you can give me all the credit that's happening now. It takes 20 years. Okay, so, no, I've had a chance to work with John Branson there, and of course Mayor Reed. And so after that, after I retired, I've been helping small cities do comprehensive plan, unified development codes, and just work with a number of cities in the Houston region and San Antonio in the Valley. We focus on smaller cities. We try to stay away from Houston, so at least my team does. And then I'm also a proud Rotarian. I've been in the Rotary Club for 14 years. I'm part of the Pearland Rotary Club, so if you have some time, please come and visit us. We meet on Thursday mornings at the Pearland Chamber of Commerce. We would love to have you all. On my team, I have Krishna. She's a planner engineer. She's also our GIS expert, and she'll take the lead on she's the team lead for the project, so you'll see her a lot. And then I would like to introduce Adam, who's also part of Ardura. Adam is our civil engineer who will be working with infrastructure, mobility. Adam is our sort of our guru on resiliency and sustainability, which is where this grant stems from. So he'll be making sure that the citizens of Pearland, citizens of Friendswood, sorry about that, and the residents are safe, as also that your infrastructure is resilient. You know, your the water, sewer, roads, all are resistant and resilient over the years. As you know, we do have some hazards here in this area. And then also on our team from Kimley Horn is David, and he'll be making a small presentation. David will be our urban design consultant on this. And then we have Ty, who's from CDS. They'll be working on the marketing and economic development portions of the plan. So, and Ty will also make a small presentation on what they will do here. So with that, again, thanks a lot for having us here. Just quickly, I'll just cover a little bit of background on the grant and what it can be used for. And I'll talk about the comprehensive plan and the elements, talk about the process, the public engagement process, which we're really excited about, and then make sure that we get your input throughout the process, and then leave some time for discussion. So this is a grant, as the city manager mentioned, from the GLO. So the purpose of the grant is to update the comprehensive plan with a focus on hazard mitigation, because it's coming from the GLO. It's called the Resilient Communities Program. And then the good thing about this grant is the second part of the project would be to actually amend the zoning ordinances. A lot of times these comprehensive plans get made. Their comprehensive plan is a policy decision, and it just stays on the shelf because the steps that need to follow don't happen for whatever reason, one of which is lack of funding. So I think the GLO realized that there's no point in just updating the plan unless you adopt some ordinances to make some of that vision come true. So they have been kind enough to add that component to the grant. The grant also covers grant management aspects so that the city is not burdened with that either. Next. Yeah, so you know the planning history. Friendswood has been very, very active and proactive in planning. The first comprehensive plan was adopted in 1998, and since then there have been a number of plans that have been updated. So the purpose of this plan would be to go back and look at all these plans and see and evaluate their relevance to today's situation, and then incorporate some of the recommendations that are relevant into the comprehensive plan. So the comprehensive plan will seek to bring all elements together in this one document. And So the purpose is, one, to have a shared vision, as things have changed, and to make sure that there is one vision that is supported by the community. And I talked about making sure that the growth is resilient in the future. And part of what the comprehensive plan will do is guide other decisions that you have to make as a council on land uses, on infrastructure, on mobility, things like that. And more importantly, it will also look at the fiscal impact of some of these land use decisions. What would it mean to develop land in a certain way? What does it mean in the next 20 years, next 30 years? And what is the return on investment that you're getting on your infrastructure so that the city is fiscally sound as you grow or as you move along? And then asset management will be another part, and then also making sure that these recommendations align with state and federal policies, which is really important to help the city get more grants in the future. So making sure where are these opportunities and make sure that they're very specifically addressed in the plan with that goal in mind to get more money to help the city plan and implement some of the recommendations. And then, so the certain themes that emerge out of this process would be starting with, of course, respecting the history of the city, the origins of the city, looking at land uses, open spaces, infrastructure, mobility, economy, tourism, culture. So as I mentioned before, this plan will bring all these themes together in one document and make sure that they're all interconnected and address all these issues in a cohesive manner. Thanks. So why is the city doing it now? First, of course, we have the grant to do it, obviously, but the second is the region is growing, and we all know that Friendswood does not have a lot of land to grow, but there is opportunity in Friendswood for redevelopment, for infill development. So what does that growth mean to Friendswood, and what should the city be prepared for as the region grows? HTAC has forecasted about 3.7 million people moving into the Houston greater area in the next 30 years. So where are those people going to go, and how is it going to affect Friendswood? And of course, and making sure that wherever this growth takes the city, it's powered by the community, that it is what the community wants. And then we have seen a lot of developer interest in the city too. So what is the best way to channel that? Like I said, you have limited vacant land. So what is the best way to address that? What are the opportunities, the redevelopment opportunities? And of course, the regulations and standards. Once this vision is in place, does the city have appropriate regulations to make sure that the vision comes true? And we talked about hazard mitigation and, of course, the funding part of it. So the timing is right now. The report, what you can expect is a very, a report that's easy to read. Some cities have said they want us to do a tabletop magazine-looking style report, just so that they'll have all the backup information, but the main part of the report will have the maps, text, graphics, illustrations, and be very simple to read, with all the backup information, of course. Next, please. So with that, I'm going to have David come and talk a little bit about what his team is going to do. Friendswood prides itself on the small town character. So how are we going to go about trying to understand what that character is and how to make sure that that is strengthened in the process?
Thank you, guys. We're pleased to be a part of the team, and I have a great passion for urban design and looking at communities and helping a community identify what its soul is and what the visual aspect of it is and how to celebrate that. There's a lot of information that the plan will have in it. The urban design component is really about the character and the sense of a place. What makes Friendswood Friendswood from a visitor standpoint, from someone who lives here. A lot of it is visual, but a lot of it is also pedestrian connectivity, relationships between areas of interest within the city and how they connect. There's a lot to consider. We're focusing primarily on the major roadway corridors, since that is such a visible, interactive experience for visitors and residents alike. And then looking at the central downtown financial, the hub of the community, and identifying what that strength is, how to capitalize that, how to make that more of an asset, and how to really emphasize and celebrate that as part of the city. So we're really looking forward to getting input from the community and the CPAC and really understanding what is important to the community and how we can help take your ideas and thoughts and really kind of give you a vision for the next few years for the city. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Ty is going to come and talk a little bit about the economic development and market forces. One of the things that we are really cognizant about is to make this plan happen, it needs to be couched in very sound financial background, and that's what he's going to talk about. Market forces are good, but I had a councilman who said, we will listen to the market, but we are not going to be bullied by the market. This is quote unquote. So I think that's really important, that when developers come and talk to you about the market, what do you have to counter? So Ty is going to talk a little bit about that and go from there.
Thank you, Lotta. Thank you all for having me. My name is Ty Jacobson. I'm the Managing Director at CDS. We're a small consulting firm here in Houston. We've been around since the early 1970s, and our primary line of business is doing market and feasibility studies. We do it for public entities such as y'all, and as well as for private developers. We work with residential, we work with commercial, we work with various other types of special uses, even nonprofit uses as well. As far as what we are doing on this project, I kind of have 3 slides here that give you a little bit about, the why, the what we're going to do, and then how that's incorporated into the plan. So the importance of a market study component for a comprehensive plan. It's important to understand the demographics, not just the city, but the context in the region. It's important to understand as well the socioeconomic analysis, both within the city and again within the region. And what are the trends? What type of pressure might we see from population or employment trends, growth, or are there areas where it's contracting, and how does that need to contribute to the work that y'all will do based off the plan that the Ardura team here is preparing? So we want to understand the real estate market on the whole, the residential component of it, both for sale and for rent, as well as commercial, basically all types of commercial land uses, retail, industrial office, medical office, and then understanding where is, so let's do a supply-demand analysis. Where is demand and supply, where are they not meeting? And how can that be remedied, or how can the plan produce something that will enable you to get the kind of development that you'd like on the ground? I think it's important to understand that you need a market-based solution to your vision for the city. It does have to fit the market, as otherwise it'll be your money that you're spending to try to make it happen. Spend some other people's money, right? So sort of how this process goes about, we will do a lot of look at historical data trends, as well as examining forecasting, and that's again for demographic elements such as employment, population, but as well as the real estate aspect, commercial and residential. We do a lot of research on what is planned, proposed, or recent development in the city, and how is that going to factor into what you would expect to see in the future. How's that affecting the market? Some of the effects of things that have happened recently, and certainly things that haven't happened yet, we haven't seen those effects. How can we forecast those based on what we learn? We're going to try to talk to folks on the ground here in Friendswood who work as professionals in real estate, in particular commercial and residential real estate, to get really that local expert opinion about what's going on. And then we will sort of put that together into an analysis on the neighborhood redevelopment, reinvestment, if there's areas that are existing. What are opportunities to put something new on the ground or renovate what's already there? So we've got sort of the why and the what. How does this incorporate itself into the comprehensive plan? So this provides a market-based guidance for your land use planning, your land use expectations for the future, whether you're changing something with zoning or whether you have property that perhaps that's city-owned, obviously city-controlled through zoning, and understanding what's possible there. We also are going to look at opportunities for investment, reinvestment. How do you encourage new development or redevelopment, or perhaps repair, revitalization of existing buildings, existing property? And there will, of course, be a component of this where we discuss tools for sort of ongoing management of whether there's a special district or a special area that you kind of sort of set aside, or ongoing management of older historic properties, or ongoing management of areas that have seen redevelopment or reinvestment. That's all I have. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you.
Just a couple more slides. The process itself, we anticipate that the first part of the process, which is the comprehensive plan update, would take about a year. And then, as I mentioned, the second part would be to actually look at the zoning ordinance and then see what needs to change, so come up with some recommendations for that. So the process starts with mobilization, looking at the current city, then coming up with, we go through an extensive visioning process, which is where we get the community excited and ask them what their vision is, what do they like, what do they not like, and try to bring all that together, and then come up with recommendations based on what we have discovered, our findings, our research, and more importantly, what the community wants. And then look at the draft plan, and implementation is a big part of all this, so you will see towards the end a whole chapter on implementation, break it down into steps, and what can be done in the first year, the second year, third year, who are going to be the players, where is the money going to come from, and maybe get some estimate on how much it would be, just to get a feel for, okay, all these recommendations are great, but how do we start getting there? And then do the zoning ordinance update, which is kind of the lowest hanging fruit when you want to adopt some of these policies. Next, please. So we are very excited about our public engagement plan. We do believe that we need to be creative, we need to think outside the box, try to meet people where they are in areas that, in a manner that they want. So, of course, we start with the city council, and we'll be coming back to you often in the process. But our biggest, I guess, the group that will help us and give us constant input will be the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee. And typically that would have about 18 to 22 members. I know staff is helping with putting that together. And as soon as that's put together, we'll kick off there. And so we'll meet with the CPAC, as it's called, about 4 to 5 times during the process. Other than that, we have one-on-one interviews planned, focus group meetings with different groups, and we have a couple of citywide events or pop-up events. Our first citywide event will be the Halloween festival, so we'll have a booth there, have people do some interactive exercises. We have a QR code. We'll have a questionnaire online by then so that they can start taking the questionnaire, and we can start compiling some of the information. So we believe in, one, hearing what the community wants, but more importantly, going back to them and say, this is what we heard, and these are the recommendations. So have them weigh in on the recommendations too. A lot of times you hear people complain, they came and asked us all these questions, and what did it do with that? So the second citywide event will be towards like maybe the end of the process, where once the city council has kind of bless the recommendations, we go back to the community, or you might say maybe ask them first and then bring it to us so we can figure that out. And then a lot of printed materials. You'll see flyers posted, a lot of digital methods to participate. Social media will be our big friend, and we will have online community engagement platform. We will have a website on the city's webpage where people can go at any given time, figure out what the project is, where we are. We'll have all the summary of the meetings, pictures. So it's a very transparent process, hopefully, and people will get excited about that. Next, please.
Murad, staff going to identify stakeholders and members for the comprehensive plan advisory committee to present to us? Or?
Yes, sir, and it's going to be made up of both staff members as well as some citizen groups out there.
Okay, great. When will we see that?
Likely in the next 2 to 3 months.
And then, of course, we'll have this online community engagement platform. So in addition to the questionnaire, we'll have an interactive map where you can go in and say, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and actually click on the map. And then all the other residents can see what the citizens are talking about. So that's generally very exciting because it's very specific and helps everybody understand what the issues are. So the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee, it's a temporary advisory committee, and very, very important to the process because we totally rely on their insight, advice, expertise, knowledge of the city, and hopefully it's represented by a number of stakeholders and agencies, sometimes even county agencies, TxDOT. So you can start thinking about who would be good members on that committee. And what that helps is to bring diverse perspectives into the picture. And like I said, about 4 to 5 meetings, so they'll be really involved in the process. And then, yeah, so those are some of the stages where the CPAC would be involved in. Next. Yeah, so with that, again, like I said, City Council input is going to be important, so we are starting this kickoff meeting with you all, and then hopefully there'll be some discussion, and then I know staff said that they would send you a questionnaire so that we start kind of use you as our guinea pigs to see if you like the questionnaire and maybe something else should be added based on your knowledge. So you'll be seeing a questionnaire come tomorrow and then have a week or 10 days to get back to us, and then we can, once we get your blessing, we'll tweak it and it'll be ready to be posted on the website. The thought is by the time we have the Halloween event, if we can have it on the website, we'll have QR codes. At the event, we'll have a couple of laptops. If somebody wants to take it right there, we'll have printed copies of the questionnaire so that at least the community starts buzzing with excitement, hopefully. So, and then we'll start our interviews and questionnaires right after that and start with our CPAC meeting. And make sure we communicate with you regularly, some type of monthly reports or whatever form the staff wants us to do, and then the website will be constantly updated through the process, and yeah, anything else that would help. So I think that there's one, yeah, so that's my last slide, and so if you have any thoughts, questions, feel free to discuss now or later. So
thanks, Lada. David, Ty, appreciate you presenting. We look forward to working with you through this process. Any council member questions or comments at this time?
I have a comment. Thank you, Murad and Aubrey, for securing the grant funding to do this. Its comprehensive plans are just that, very comprehensive. And it's great to have this redone, every decade or two. And so thanks, because I know it's not cheap. And so thank you for securing the grant funds for this. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
And the driver for this comprehensive plan, is this a requirement that we as a city need to do?
So in order to have zoning in our community, you do have to have a comprehensive plan. We technically have one from 1998, but as you can imagine, that's nearly 30 years ago at this point. And so there's a lot of aspects of the community that have changed over the last 25, 26, 27 years. We've updated various components of the comp plan in that time period. The land use plan was updated, the major thoroughfare plan, the parks master plan, the drainage plan, so on and so forth. This will not be a static document, though. I'll tell you that now. As we see growth and development, not only in our community, but adjacent to our communities, we're impacted by that growth. So though we establish a vision now, there will be times that you will have to consider alternates to it, whether you get a rezoning application that doesn't quite meet what you had intended. We don't own all the properties out in Friendswood, so we can't necessarily dictate what happens in our community.
Well, that's kind of one of my concerns, because we're going to inculcate all of this, the future land use map, the downtown improvement plan, capital improvement grant plans, what we try to set in stone as a comprehensive plan, just like we have coming up on Thursday evening, a change to the future land use map. Well, At the time we were passing the land use map, it was just that, guys, this is kind of what we would like to see. This might get us to where we're 80-20 on the deal, but that person has a barrier now to entry. He has to go to P&Z and ask for a variance because it's not exactly what we had in our land use map. And so what I get concerned about is when we try to come together with a comprehensive plan that has every single one of the plans and master drain. I'm just looking at all the things that we're going to inculcate on this, and it's like, oh my gosh, now we're going to have to do a variance against our comprehensive plan every time something comes up. And to tell you the truth, I don't think the city really has the best ideas of what should be developed. I think we have to give a lot of leeway to the property owner who's wanting to develop it, whether it's commercial, whether it's residential, or whatever it is. It's their money. And then when we sit there and put up an entry to barrier and say, well, this is what we want there, when it's failing across the street, then that's not exactly what we should want there. And so that I just get worried when we just do a whole comprehensive plan and then we set in our heels and tell the developer, well, this is what we want there, even though it's not working there, but that's what we want. Do you see my concern?
Yes, sir, and this is not intended to be a barrier to entry. This is intended to shape applications as they come in. So for instance, if we see a new commercial node in a particular area, what infrastructure improvements are necessary to support that? You know, the Whitcomb property is a great example of that. It required a large investment on the part of the city and the developer in order to make that project a reality. And so this is intended to shape it, but not to be a barrier to entry.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, I'm very excited to have a comprehensive plan kick off. You know, that's kind of what we do for a living, at least in my world. So we work with cities on comprehensive plans and making sure that we're kind of dovetailing into what the community wants and needs. So it's a great, to your point, Robert, I think it's a great indicator to the developer of what the city and the citizens might want, and then the developer can be creative and figure out how to make it all work together. So I don't see them as barriers to entry. I see them as great guidelines for developers a lot of times to figure out, you know, what exactly we can do. I've worked with Ty on one of my projects, so, you know, he's very capable of understanding both sides of the equation from a developer standpoint and from a city standpoint, and being able to dovetail those two together and say, hey, this is what's the most likely scenario for everybody as far as commercial, retail, or any of those other types of developments, or even, you know, some of the residential components of it. So, I mean, we've got precious land left. We need to be really smart and prudent as we develop it out. There's a lot of ability to do that with some guidance and from some really good input from folks that we've got here. So I'm really excited about this process. I think this is a good opportunity for the citizens to give us their input and then reset where we are. So thank you.
But isn't it more than just development? I mean, it's a component of it for sure.
Correct.
But it's also about parks. It's about what our residents are looking for and making sure all the pieces of a very complicated city government work together and all heading in the same direction. I mean, so it's broader. It's, again, comprehensive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's right. No, that's what we've spent a lot of time talking about, but that's a key part of it, though.
Yeah, it should be a living, breathing document. Like any consultant that comes to do work or any developer should be able to pick up that document and see, you know, what do these people want Friendswood to look like in 20 or 30 years? And just to be able to have a comprehensive view of our goals and, you know, our vision of what we want to be.
Now, isn't it generally fairly broad? I mean, the one 1999 or 1990, I mean, it was very, very broad.
It was very broad, but
we
we accomplished a lot of that plan, like probably 90% of what was laid out in that plan. It kind of went along with Vision 2020, which was done in 1998, and it's all kind of like we've accomplished so much. We need a new plan and things to work towards.
I see this as a way that we're not reactive all the time as a city, but we have a vision. It will change. We couldn't have predicted 27 years ago some of the things that we're dealing with now.
Right.
No one predicted that. So it will change, but it keeps us from being reactive and more proactive and trying to move, like you said, not the exact, road plan, but but a good direction.
Well, and city council and planning and zoning and staff can all be working off of the same information. So we can all work towards the same thing.
And this is, again, just big picture guidelines. This isn't, you've got to build this. This is, hey, this node over here works well for this because we've got this type of infrastructure over here. You know, this is
And that's a lot of the way the future land use map was sold to us. And then if it doesn't fit that, now you have to go to P&Z and get it changed. So the future land use map has to actually be changed by P&Z.
But you can't change
So
it.
it's not just a big broad picture. And it might be industrial, it might be commercial, it might be something else, but it's just not exactly the same thing as on our future land use map. So now we got to go change it. So that's what I'm saying is, this is comprehensive, so we got to be.
And you can change it. We will weigh those applications against what our original missions are in this comprehensive plan. And so, for instance, if we're doing an infrastructure project, did this meet the intent of our comp plan and what we want to see for the area? Now, Aubrey mentioned it's a living, breathing document. We will get applications that are in contradiction to this comp plan, but if it's something the community and this council believe they want, we can definitely support it. And that's why we have the opportunity to change it.
We've approved a lot of changes to the future land use map. And
Yes.
they come up regularly.
Correct. But it will be used at times as a reason not to approve things too. I mean, you are correct in that, Councilmember.
Switching just a little bit, isn't it also true that when we are going out for funding grants, much like what y'all just did, comprehensive plan can assist in qualifying for those funds?
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. Yes.
So free money on the table.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Murad, you forgot to brag exactly how much money we got, so.
$250,000 for this. Yeah, so
Perfect. Thank you.
we're thrilled
Good
about that.
job.
You know, I have some memory of developing the comprehensive plan in 1998. Small, teeny, tiny part, but some involvement. But what I remember most about it was that we were trying to diversify the tax base or relieve the homeowner, the residents, from carrying 90% of the taxes that the city collected to fund city business was coming from residences. And we wanted to have more commercial to lessen that load on the homeowners, the residential property owners. And that, was kind of the vision for that comprehensive plan and what the council was thinking. So I think that's, as we look at the building that's going around us, the traffic that's coming through us, the almost build out, there's a different scenario now, different set of circumstances, but that's why I think it's a good time for us to revisit that and redevelop that.
I think
And-
this year with our tax
I was
rate,
just fixing to say, this year,
able to consider a little bit.
that vision is being recognized to the tune of about 1.26 cents. So
Yeah.
Just a little bit, starting.
I'm
Correct.
excited about that.
And we will have another obstacle in the future. When we're built out, the cost of providing services is never going to go down, but our increase in new construction and new revenues are going to decrease. So how do we sustain the operations that we hold near and dear to this community moving forward?
Well, and just like I told you earlier, Mo, with the city center, the way that's coming together, I'm so glad some of the ideas that were floated around 20 years ago did not
Stick.
stick on that land, because I just think what's going in there is so superior to what we had been looking at 20 or 25 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Amen. All right, well, thank you very much again, Lada, Ardura, Kimley Horn, CDS. Thank you all for being part of this team, and we look forward to working with you guys. And with that, I'll turn it over to Murad for City Manager's report.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We've mentioned a couple of times tonight various boards and committees throughout the city of Friendswood. On the screen before you is a list of all our non-advisory and advisory committees. The non-advisories are those that we're statutorily required to have, like Planning and Zoning Commission, Zoning Board of Adjustment, the Construction Board of Adjustment. And then the advisory boards are those that simply make advisory recommendations to city councils. All these boards and committees are appointed by council, and as you know, from time to time, we have vacancies on one or more of these committees. The City Secretary's Office recently compiled an easy guide to give a reader a quick synopsis of what each of these boards and committees are made up of in terms of number of positions, their roles and responsibilities, and the purposes they serve. There's even a QR code on the screen that's on our websites for folks that want to get this information. We will continue to advertise this on somewhat of a periodic basis, monthly, encouraging folks to sign up to volunteer if they haven't done so. And it's a fantastic way to engage and learn more about the city of Friendswood. Next slide, please. The Friendswood Library Summer Reading Program recently concluded. As you all know, we started the 2025-2026 school year. I wanted to brag on the library and just highlight some of the volume of information that was accomplished this year. So in the children's and young adult areas, we had 239 programs just this past summer. Adult services, 60. We've had 9,000 plus children and young adults go through our library this summer and participate in those 239 programs, nearly 400 adults. The reading challenge, the kids kicked the adults' butts, 1,249 participants to 179 minutes read, nearly 820,000 minutes of books that are read. And so you can see the rest of the numbers on the screen. It was mentioned nearly a decade ago to me that we shouldn't support a bond to expand the library, that we're going all digital. What use is the library? And as you can tell with those numbers on the screen, it's continually evolving and getting more and more necessary in our community. So kudos to the library. Karen and you and your staff, thank you for all that you do. And we encourage folks to continue to engage. We have a fantastic library. Last but not least, tomorrow is National Night Out. We've already shared with council the schedule of various homeowners associations and folks and communities that will be gathering at various times tomorrow to get out and meet your neighbors, as well as getting out and meeting our public safety and first responders and PD and fire and EMS. I know a number of council members will be out there as well. Since this is an opportunity to engage the public for donations, we have a list of sleep fit kits for local teens that are having shelter issues or homeless issues potentially. So if you could have your HOA provide some equipment towards that regard. Any questions?
No.
Thank you,
sir. Appreciate it. All right, item 10, business item 10A, consider adding additional positions to the 2026 bond election ad hoc committee and confirming the appointments to the new positions.
So, Mr. Mayor, last month I mentioned we were appointing 32 members, but we had 3 pending background investigations, not wanting to out them should they not pass their background investigations. We didn't have you vote on it last month, but all 3 did pass, especially David Lorenz, which we were worried about being a pastor and all. Yeah. But if y'all would consider a motion to expand the committee by 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Any more discussion on this? All in favor? 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And David, good job. Keeping your nose clean, that's what we expect. Item 11, proposed ordinances and resolutions. 11A, consider on first reading an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, Boards, Committees, and Commissions, Division 1, Generally, Section 2-21, Definitions, and Division 10, Planning and Zoning Commission. Section 2-73, Powers and Duties of the Friendswood City Code, and amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, Boards, Committees, and Commissions of the Friendswood City Code to add a new division to be numbered and entitled Division 2.5, Capital Improvements Advisory Committee, to establish a new committee to perform the duties and functions conferred on such a committee by Chapter 395 in the Texas Local Government Code, and amending Chapter 70, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 3, Construction, Section 70-64, Sidewalks Required, to refine the duties of the Planning and Zoning Commission with respect to sidewalks by removing the Sidewalk Installation Fund. Rod?
Yes, sir. Well, 2 things. One, the 2025 legislative session changed the rules with respect to impact fees. As you know, the city of Friendswood, and every municipality in Texas for that matter, if you have an impact fee, you have to have an advisory committee. Historically, that advisory committee has been made up of the Planning and Zoning Commission because it made sense. They work in the field of development, reviewing plats, reviewing plans, so on and so forth. This last legislative session, the state enacted a law that says your Planning and Zoning Commission cannot serve in that capacity, and you would have to establish another board, and that other board had to be made up at least a majority members of developers or real estate professionals. So we will have to present to City Council at a future date, provided this ordinance passes, a slate of individuals to serve as the capital investment, or the capital impact improvements advisory committee, sorry. They're responsible for reviewing our land use assumptions when we review our CIP update and our impact fees on a 5-year basis per Chapter 395. The last component of this ordinance is the sidewalk installation fund. You may recall over a year ago, the city it reported to council in the decade plus that we've had the sidewalk installation fund. We've raised a little over $20,000. This fund was established.
Where the money came from for that, and how are you going to?
Yes, sir.
And I interrupted you, sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine. The funding came from commercial properties that did not want to install a sidewalk at the time of their development. Instead, they paid money in lieu of the installation of that sidewalk. Well, I was on staff, so you can blame me, but it was very short-sighted to collect funds in 1 year and to think that those funds would be sufficient to build a sidewalk at some point in the future if there wasn't sufficient right-of-way, whatever the case may be. So we came to you over a year ago and said, hey, we need to just deplete those funds. They have to be spent on the properties upon which we collected it. So we supplemented the dollars we had in that account with the general fund balance above 90-day. We went forward and we built sidewalks. There is approximately $6,500 left in those funds, but we aren't collecting new infusions of cash.
Those funds were collected from those businesses in lieu of them installing the required sidewalk that businesses have to install.
Correct.
So we're just going back basically to the side where we say, you can't just pay your way out of this. You have to put the sidewalk in as part of your opening a business, developing a commercial site.
Correct. Now, this does not change the dynamic as far as the city's responsibility for maintaining sidewalks. We have and we continue to maintain sidewalks throughout the city and our public right-of-ways. We did nearly 4,600 feet of either raising, replacing, or repairing sidewalks in our community this up to this fiscal year alone.
So, Murad, I had a question on the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee. You basically have to reinstitute it or reconfigure it. Were those all have to be residents of the city of Friendswood that are?
They do, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And since we only have to look at impact fees every 5 years, is there an impetus to get this committee started?
There is from the ones.
We just did impact fees last year.
We did, but there is a requirement that they receive an annual report as to how the impact fees collections are going. So sort of like FDEDC has to get at least 2 meetings a year to meet statutory law, this group will have to meet at least once a year. But we'll start working on a slate of names.
We got one member of P&Z right there, Marcus Rise. Would he qualify? He's an architect.
He would qualify. No, he wouldn't, because they cannot be on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, you're off of that. You don't have to do 2 boards, Marcus.
Help me to understand this just a little bit. So the legislature did away with the P&Z's ability to act as the advisory committee. Is there any way, because I'm just reluctant to create advisory committees after advisory, is there any way this could be done, because we collect fees, is there any way that this could be done without having an advisory committee, like let the council be the advisory committee? I don't understand why we have to create a new advisory committee when we're going to be doing the ordinances which we're all familiar with, and why we just don't act on those ourselves versus having an advisory committee.
So the new law requires that we establish this committee, and that the committee can't be composed of anyone that's already a public official. So someone who already exercises that authority largely without the supervision of others. So because of that, this will have to be a new committee, and it can't be anyone on those non-advisory boards, and it can't be council.
And it can't be council. Okay. Well, it always seems like we got to create something.
It's a state trying to help us.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
That's all.
And did you see how narrowly focused?
Do the Paper Reduction Act?
Yeah.
You took more paper?
Apparently. Okay. Any other questions? Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, 6-0. Item 12, consent agenda. I need a motion approving the consent agenda items 12A through 12Q.
Motion to approve.
Mayor, I would like to pull C and D for consideration and discuss those. C being the economic development contract with Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership, and D being considering authorizing interlocal agreement with Harris Galveston Subsidence District to participate in water conservation school program.
All right, so noted. I need a motion approving the consent agenda items 12A, 12B, and 12E through 12Q.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. All in favor? Count him as a yay. Yes, 6-0.
Get me in there.
All right.
Here's your moment here.
Okay.
That motion passes. 12C, now consider authorizing an economic development contract with Bay Area Houston Economic Partnership. Rod? maybe
Yes,
a
sir.
quick overview.
As BayHep President Brian Friedman mentioned earlier today, we have, you have their annual contract before you for consideration of BayHep's membership from the city of Friendswood into BayHep. He extolled the virtues of BayHep and what they do for our community on an annual basis. This is an elective contract should council choose to award it, much like other contracts we do with the Chamber, Baytran, the Historical Society, so on and so forth.
You know, Mo, what I'd like to do is, just as a workshop possibly, is look at all of these memberships that we're a part of and discuss how much money we spend with like the Chamber and these other organizations. I look at this $17,000 a year for guaranteed for 3 years, $51,000, and we just went through our budget and we had a $30,000 unfunded item that we were like scrambling for. Well, here's $51,000 that we're going to spend over the next 3 years on BayHep. And I did get a chance to visit with Brian earlier today, and I mean, I have voted for this and I voted against it from time to time. I would just like to get a better idea of what BayHep actually does for us. I know that Sally has advocated for the Historical Society to get a little extra money for budgeting because of the insurance premiums going up. We've got Keep Friendswood Beautiful that we fund just a little bit to. We've got the Senior Activity Center that if they could get about $3 or $4 or $5 thousand more a year, they could do so much more. I mean, Michael Ross donated a beautiful ping pong table. It's heavy-duty professional ping pong table. But these items are specifically in need in our city. And I see what Keep Friendswood Beautiful does. I see what the museums, when they're open, everybody enjoys them. And we just recently had the alumni, Distinguished Alumni Association, they had the museums up and over there. And if we could fund them a little bit, and when we look at $17,000 a year for a membership at BayHep, I'm going to vote against C just because I think there's some local things that we could fund a little bit better because they're struggling to get by, and that's what I would like to see happen is just let's stay more local. Again, I really do appreciate visiting with you earlier, Brian. I am going to visit with you more about this, but for right now, that's kind of how I feel about it.
Well, I'm just going to say I am way in favor of supporting this membership with BayHep. We gain so much out of this. I see Brian Friedman at least twice a month because I'm on the mayor's roundtable and we meet once a month, and then the general membership meeting once a month where we just heard Senator Ted Cruz speak to us a week or so ago, and I'm going to start dragging you to some of these meetings, Robert. You'll be able to see it firsthand.
I think that'd be a good idea.
What we are benefiting from, and just being in the room with all the regional mayors. You know, I always say, being the mayor of Friendswood, you know, it is not just Friendswood problems that we're dealing with. We're dealing with regional problems, you know, and so all the mayors in that room are dealing with the same issues. So when we partner together, come together and throw ideas out on the table and work together, it benefits us all. And so BayHep is the catalyst that brings us all together on a regular basis. And so I am way in favor of this. I was on the other end of, you know, probably the one vote I've had since I was a council member voting to exit BayHep, and I regret that. We came to our senses a year or two later and rejoined, but
when you became mayor.
When I became mayor, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. That is true.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I stand by that change, but I regret that I was part of the four that voted to exit. I'm sorry to even bring that up with you, Brian. I know that was
Before your
a
time.
black mark on us, but no, I was a council member.
No, I said before Brian's time.
Before Brian's time, but he remembers it because.
I too would like
Yes.
to say I support BayHap. I feel like that it's the old, and as much as I'd love more money for historical, I appreciate that, Robert, I really do.
Well, you know I opposed that when you brought it
I
up.
know you
was
did.
very much
I remember that.
because we didn't have the money.
But, and maybe it's partly because of the HGAC where I've served there, but I do see we're coming together, different entities. The days of us being able to get things done by ourselves are long since gone. We have to work together, we have to be collaborative, and I think BayHap really does help us with those efforts. So I appreciate the work that BayHap does, so I do see the benefit. I understand it's a cost, but I do see the benefit of it.
So I'm going to say two things. One, I agree with Robert about getting together and maybe at a workshop or next workshop and talking about those things that we support. But I see those as a quality of life issue in Friendswood, and it brings us that sense of community. And I think it's very, very important. But I do want us to talk about them because maybe we do need to support all of those things just a little bit more. $17,000 out of our budget, Mo, is what percentage?
Less than
Well,
one half of 1%. I mean, it's.
Not
team is
even
working on it.
1%.
Correct.
Not
Nowhere
even
near.
1%.
$118 million budget.
So, and what Sally
Somebody
just
would
said,
like to
Councilman Branson just said about us, we're not a little bitty town in isolation. We are part of a region. You leave Friendswood and you're in another larger city than Friendswood. And so many of our people work all around this region. But as a former and, to my heart, educator, Friendswood's biggest, blessing, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, is our human capital. And BayHap helps us with that human capital, bringing in the kinds of jobs and the kinds of professionals that have contributed to this community so much in not just, what they donate, but their time and their treasure and their abilities. And so this is a regional thing that brings all of us together, and we're stronger as a region. So less than 1% of our budget.
It's, yeah,
It's a
0.00014.
great investment.
It's not a percentage, it's just, it all adds up over
I know,
time.
and I
all
think
of
we ought
these
to talk
things
about
add up that we
We
do.
probably should give the Historical Society a little bit more and KFB a little bit more.
Councilmember Tranga,
But you
Councilmember
need to
Ross.
get it from somewhere else, maybe.
All right.
Joe?
No, nothing. You've already said it. I'd just be repeating things that have already been said.
Councilmember
So
Ross.
Murad, in the sense that I'm sure there are, probably not countless, but there are several of these organizations that we belong to that all contribute to our success, but at the same time, to Robert's point, I would like a workshop from a standpoint of looking at each one of these, how they overlap, how they benefit, how we interact with them, how we're getting across our goals. One of the things I'm concerned with is I don't want to say we're a small fish in a big pond, but we are a fish in this pond. And, how do I know as a new council member that BayHap's representing Friendswood when they're also representing League City and Dickinson and, I assume, and these other communities? So where does the conflict of interest in that lie, and how do they navigate it? So, I mean, I would be interested in Brian giving me a great education as well, so I'm ready for it, but, unfortunately, I'm not educated enough to vote on it as a positive at this point, so, but I hear y'all, and I completely understand from a standpoint of regionals. Working regionally is a much better solution for us, and I think that's exactly where we're going to end up on a lot of our stuff.
All right. I think I've heard from everybody. I'll make the motion on this. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? 4. Opposed? 2. 4-2, Raquel.
Okay, on D, I think I've brought this up ad nauseum for the
Let me,
last 7 or
read
8
that.
years.
Let me read that.
Okay.
Item 12D, authorizing an interlocal agreement with Harris Galveston Subsides District to participate in the Water Conservation School Program Water Lab for 2025, 2026. And before Robert jumps in, Murad, you want to give us a quick overview on what we gained from this?
Yes, sir. In the 80s and 90s, the state legislature created the Harris-Galveston Subsidence District and stipulated municipalities and any entities within those boundaries are required to use surface water resources for the majority of their water usage and consumption in their communities. As such, if we use groundwater sources, which we have 6 water wells throughout our community, if we exceed the threshold by which we're allotted, we have to pay what's known as a disincentive fee of $5 per 1,000 gallons. So as you well know, we sell water at roughly $2 and change per 1,000 gallons. We'd have to pay the state a penalty of $5 plus per 1,000 gallons. When we do these educational programs throughout the community, we receive credits in exchange for that. So if we do have an emergency and there's not water coming down to the Trinity River, not coming from the Southeast Water Purification Plant, we can use our wells, which we exercise on a regular basis to make sure they're functional, and so that we don't have a disruption of water services in our community. These credits protect us from the penalties.
And we have credits after credits after credits for years and years and years that most likely will never be used. But my biggest problem is I think the interlocal agreement's fine. We should enter the interlocal agreement. My problem is that FISD and CCISD have a wonder curriculum, and I believe that I pay my tax dollars to those schools to make sure that that curriculum is their curriculum and what we all go with. And then we have another quasi-governmental entity that comes up and says, okay, well, we want to get in your classroom, and we want to give them another idea about conservation. And I remember when this was up when I was in 5th grade, when it came through my school. And as soon as I got home, I put on all the little snaps in there, and I put a brick inside my toilet, so because I was afraid we were going to run out of water. Well, we're not going to run out of water, and water conservation is very easy. You just tax it, and you'll get less water use. And I just don't appreciate paying my tax dollars to another entity to go in and indoctrinate our kids with all kinds of things that I'm perfectly fine with FISD doing and CCISD doing. So that's why I oppose this and these other education programs where they want to get into our schools and get into our kids' heads and do these programs. So that's why I oppose it.
Anybody else?
I was just going to mention, Murad, you quoted $5 per 1,000. In our backup material that you provided us, it was $12. Was that incorrect?
My $5 may have been inaccurate. Sorry, that's what I recalled from previous
The 2025 fee is $12.12 per 1,000 gallons. Is designed to discourage groundwater usage.
That is the correct figure.
I'm just reading it from.
Yes,
okay.
sir. The 12 is correct. I misspoke on the 5.
So it's even worse. If we ever need to use those groundwater credits, we have some that are permanent and then some that are temporary that expire after 20 years.
After 20 years,
the
yes,
more
sir.
credits we have, it's kind of almost like an insurance policy on that side of it, regardless of the decision of debating whether water is a valuable commodity that we've got to minimize its usage. But regardless, it is sort of an investment in just
Correct.
in case we ever need it.
Yes, sir. You said it very well.
Yeah, and I also had mentioned too that I oppose the Societies District in the state not allowing me to drill water wells on my own property and capturing my own water. So that's my personal opinion on things. That's just the way that I am. It's what I feel is part of my own property rights. And to have them say I can't do that that always bothers me. But okay.
Yes, sir.
Michael, first time, any questions?
None.
Okay, can I get a motion on this?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor? Opposed? 5-1. All right, thank you, everybody. This meeting is adjourned.